Hey tipsters, it's been a while. This is Jaron Barnes. In this video, I want to walk you through my best practices on using a platform called DealMachine as a data service provider and skip tracer for your land business. For those that might not know, DealMachine originally started as a mobile app that kind of modernized the strategy of driving for dollars that's common among house wholesalers and flippers. Its original purpose had users driving around their neighborhood looking for property that had signs of distress, and then it would have them simply pull out their phone, take a picture of the front of the property, and then it would automatically send a letter or postcard in the mail to that owner of that distressed property saying, hey, are you interested in selling? And it still does that, which is super cool. But throughout the years, DealMachine has evolved into a full-fledged CRM where you can track all of your seller leads, your tasks, notes, purchase agreements, and a full-fledged data service provider where you can pull your marketing list that you want to reach out to either via direct mail and get this, cold calling and cold emailing. DealMachine has recently come out with a game changer. They now offer unlimited skip tracing within their system. This is a value that's pretty hard to beat, and it's kind of changed the game of skip tracing. By the way, for those that might not know what skip tracing is the ability to get contact information on behalf of property owners based on their address or the address of the subject property. Now, there is a caveat to be aware of. Though DealMachine allows unlimited skip tracing within their platform, they do limit the number of exports you're allotted per month, depending on what tier of service you're on. At the time I'm making this video, DealMachine provides 3 different tiers of service: the starter plan, the pro plan, and the teams plan. The starter plan limits your allotted exports per month to 10,000. The pro plan allows up to 30,000, and the teams plan allows up to 500,000 exports per month. This is actually very generous, but it's worth noting because if your objective was to pull information out of DealMachine for a platform like launch control for mass texting or slide broadcasts for doing ringless voicemail drop campaigns, this is a limitation that you need to be aware of. It's a kind of a gotcha. That all being said though, as long as you're okay keeping all of your deal activity within the DealMachine platform, this pretty much allows you unlimited leads. Of course, you are limited to the amount of data that they have available. Just like every data service provider and every skip tracer, they're gonna have more data coverage in certain markets than they are in others. But what's crazy about unlimited data is that if you are lacking any data, you can just compensate by pulling more, just going to different markets. Where I feel DealMachine is incredibly powerful is for those that are bootstrapping as a beginner or for one reason or another need to run their real estate business on a tight budget. In effect, DealMachine allows you to have unlimited leads where at the very least you can just pick up the phone and start cold calling people. It's pretty powerful. If you're in a position where you don't have the money for direct mail, you don't have the money to commit to a couple $100s a month in a launch control or slide broadcast or what have you, this as a bare minimum will get you phone numbers and emails to your heart's desire. Another limitation to be aware of, especially if you are a land investor. If you are trying to use DealMachine solely as a skip tracer, meaning you're not pulling your marketing list from within DealMachine, but you're using another platform like PropStream or DataTree or Price, unfortunately, DealMachine requires a full postal address in order to skip trace the subject property. For us land investors, this presents a problem because a ton of vacant land parcels don't have a full postal address. I'm talking about a 123 Main Street, St. Augustine, Florida, 46320 or whatever the zip code is. You need to have that type of full address in order to skip trace phone numbers and emails within the DealMachine platform. So if you want to take advantage of DealMachine and utilize its unlimited skip tracing capabilities, it's best if you just plan on pulling your original list of property owners directly within DealMachine first and then skip tracing from there. Another thing worth mentioning before we move on here, because in a minute I want us to jump on the computer and I want to actually walk you through step by step everything that we discussed here. Just like with all skip trace providers, DealMachine is not going to have phone numbers and emails for every single property record in existence. Also, for the properties that it does have phone numbers and email addresses for, only about 50 to 70% of them are going to be accurate. It's just the nature of the beast. There's going to be limitations in the accuracy of the data. So be aware of that. And again, when in doubt, just simply pull more information because it's unlimited. So with that, let's jump on the computer and I'm going to walk you through my best practices when using DealMachine. Okay, so the very first thing that we want to do is go to the map section. So here at the top, you see 3 tabs: map, leads, and mail. We want to make sure we're under map. Here at the top, you see a search box. This is where you set your county. So we're going to come in here, and for sake of example, we're going to say Clay County, Florida. And underneath locations, we want to select the option that has in smaller font and in gray the word county. We then want to give DealMachine a minute to total up all of the properties that it has within its database underneath Clay County, because sometimes DealMachine can be a little bit finicky and we just want to give it plenty of room to do its thinking. And we also want to keep a close eye on the total property count, because as we set filters, it should be going down in size. From there, we're going to go up here to the top and select property type, and we're going to scroll down to where we see vacant land. Again, looking at our total property count, it went from like 100,000 down to 13,000. From here, we're going to go underneath this more section here at the top. And you can go through and manually select a bunch of different filters to your heart's desire, but I'm going to keep it simple and just set kind of my baseline vacant land criteria by utilizing this search box. So very first thing I'm going to do is set my acreage size by typing in the word acre and selecting lot size acres. From there, I'm going to scroll down and select is greater than, and then type in 0.24 acres. That's my criteria. Everybody has their own criteria. Again, I'm just showing you what my process is. You guys can take the principles here and apply it to whatever you want to do in terms of your own land business. So from here, I'm going to select and. I'm going to type in the word assessed and select total assessed value to set my assessed value range. And I'm going to toggle on is greater than. I'm going to put $5,000 for 5,000, hit confirm. And then I'm going to go back to this and button and then type in the word sale, select last sale date, because this is where I set my ownership length. I like properties that have at least 2 years of ownership or longer. So I'm going to select is before, select a date. This calendar window pops up. I'm going to go up here to the top where it says the month and the year. I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to go back up here to the top again where it shows the year. Select that. Go back 2 years. The day I'm making this video happens to be April 10th, 2024. So I'm going to select April 10th, 2022, hit confirm. Now, if you notice, the total count went down to 4,200. It's best practice to add unknown sale dates as well, because otherwise your total lot count gets substantially minimized. So I'm going to go here and select or, type in sale, select last sale date again, and then scroll down is unknown. Hit confirm. So I have lot size is greater than 0.24 acres and total assessed value is greater than 5,000 and last sale date is before April 10th, 2022 or last sale date is unknown. Now that I have set my filters, I'm going to exit out of there, and then you can see here at the bottom 10,163. I'm going to go ahead and click build list, and I'm also going to click again to confirm build. Once I do that, I'm going to let DealMachine do its magic, and once it's ready, I'll hit view list. Once it's done, you'll see this green circle with a check mark, and I can now successfully click this button that is titled view list. And then it takes me to my leads section. Now, you can access the leads section through this top menu here, where again, next to map, it shows leads. All your leads will default to this all leads tab. You can also select open list for whatever list you have built successfully within DealMachine. For our purposes, this is our relevant list. If I wanted to rename this list, I would come here to these 3 dots, select view list, come over here to list name, and then name it whatever I want. Example list, Clay County, Florida, etc. Hit confirm change. And then I'm going to give it a second to populate. Now that we have successfully populated all the leads, I want to highlight a couple of very cool features within DealMachine. So as you can see, there's 10,163 leads total, but a lot of these are not showing phone numbers. If I wanted to just filter leads that actually successfully skip trace phone numbers, I would go underneath all filters, scroll down to contact information. Contact has phone number, that's what I'd select, is equal to any of, select yes, hit confirm, hit apply. So that's all I need. Another really cool feature within DealMachine worth highlighting is this quick filters section. This is where you can set niche demographic criteria that has a high likelihood of conversion. So for example, intrafamily transfer is an indicator for inherited property. Probates is a great source of deals. If you toggle these on in our example, unfortunately, we don't get any leads that come back, but for the leads that are declared as probate or intrafamily transfer, those are extremely hot. Those are the #1 leads that I would prioritize above all else. But for our example today, this particular list doesn't have any probates or intrafamily transfers on behalf of Clay County, which is fine. We're gonna go ahead and toggle those off. Another big source of deals for me is senior owners. So if I were to toggle this back off, out of the 5,779 leads that actually had phone numbers from the total 10,000 and some change list that we got from setting our basic vacant land criteria, if we toggle on senior owners, 2,100 of them are verified senior owners. It's pretty powerful stuff. We could also toggle on tax delinquent, a combination of senior owners and tax delinquent. We can look at out-of-state owners. We can also do expired MLS listings, a number of very, very cool niche demographic criteria. Now that we have toggled on our filters, I want to highlight the property records and the contact records within DealMachine. What's very cool about DealMachine is that it can function as a CRM. You can come up here underneath the property record, go to activity, add notes, attach purchase agreements or other relevant documents. You can also add tasks. So you can, for the purposes of follow-up, say, hey, in 3 weeks from now, reach out to this person because they're thinking about it or they have something going on, they're traveling or whatever. And then when you assign it to yourself or another team member, you can set your details, set your due date, and then when it's time for you to accomplish that task, you'll find it here underneath this task navigator. You can also do a bunch of cool filters. Going back to the property record, we'll also see up here at the top that DealMachine includes a bunch of statuses. I probably wouldn't use these if I was using DealMachine as my CRM because they're more relevant for house investing, whether it's wholesaling or flipping or rental properties. But nevertheless, it is cool that they have this out of the box in place. If I was using DealMachine as my go-to CRM, I would be utilizing the tag features. They have some pre-built tags here already, but you can come here and you can customize tags just by typing in search tag and then name it whatever you want, select add, and then you got that tag. That is kind of the functionality of DealMachine from a CRM standpoint. Another very helpful feature is that DealMachine will tag automatically different aspects of the property, like again, off market, senior owner, high equity, absentee owner, free and clear, etc. So that's very helpful insight. And then underneath the property info section, you have a lot of really insightful information. Underneath land info, you can oftentimes get the subdivision name, you can get the legal description, the lot number, school district, zoning type, flood zone code, a lot of stuff. Also, underneath tax information, you get a lot of insightful tax related details like whether it's delinquent, what the total tax amount is per year, etc. And then underneath HOA information, when it has the data, this is where you can find out HOA name, the fee, all that. So very cool stuff there. Now, if you were to go underneath associated contacts, these are the contact records. And you'll see whether it's likely the owner or a family member of some kind. You'll see how the associated contacts are relevant to the actual owner. When you go into the contact record, we see some very insightful ownership demographic information like date of birth, age, marital status, their mailing address, their previous address. You'll also see if they own other properties. So if you wanted to target portfolio owners. This is where you would find out, hey, this person not only owns this particular property, but 5 more other land parcels. Now it looks like they own some houses, but clearly they have at least 3 other land parcels in our example here. Moving on from there, underneath phone number, we can see whether or not the individual uses this phone number heavily, or if it is a light use, like maybe they have a secondary line, or maybe their landline they don't use that much, but they use their mobile phone often. You'll be able to see that with these tags. And then you'll also be able to see whether or not it is a landline, wireless, meaning cell phone, and who the provider is, if it's AT&T or another carrier. This is where you'll see the emails. From there, we can also see professional background information like their level of education, their occupation, their net worth, their estimated household income. Very helpful. A couple other things worth highlighting underneath the contact record. If the phone number is listed in the do not call registry, you'll see a yellow button called do not call. And then also at the top, you'll see tags similar to these off-market cash buyer kind of high-level categorizations that DealMachine is automatically populating for us. If the contact that you are reaching out to or that is associated with the property is a litigator, meaning they have a high likelihood of suing because they have a lot of past history of civil cases or lawsuits or what have you, this is where you're going to see them tagged as a litigator. So I want to confirm that DealMachine does scrub for litigators and do not call, which is very, very powerful. So yeah, this pretty much covers DealMachine as a CRM. I am going to show you guys how to export a list from DealMachine, and then I'm going to walk you through a baseline of scrubbing that I would do in anticipation of doing a ringless voicemail campaign, because it's relevant to my land business purposes for today, and I thought it was good to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to select this checkbox that will select every lead that is on this page, but you can see I have up to 4 pages. So a quick and easy way to select everything is just come here and select all. From here, I'm going to go to lead action, and I am going to go to export leads. And here's something worth mentioning. If you want to get a bunch of the ownership demographic insights like age, marital status, household income, you want to toggle on contacts. If you just want the property information like the APN number, the legal description, the acreage size, etc., in addition to just the contact information, this is the option that you want to toggle on. Now, you can come over here to this little green button and go through and select the data that you want to explicitly export, but I think it's best practice, and for the sake of our example today, I'm going to go ahead and leave this on because I would rather not miss anything and leave no stone unturned and export all data that I can. So again, to reemphasize, if your objective is just to get the contact information plus the property information, this is the option you want to toggle on. Then I'm going to click here and submit export. Now, when I do this, it's going to take a minute to get everything ready, and then it's going to send the exported CSV file to my email for download. Let's go ahead and jump over to my email, and we'll download it, then we'll upload it to Google Drive and go through some basic scrubbing together. All right, so now I am in my email. I'm going to go ahead and click here, and then I'm going to go to Google Drive. Here is the file that I downloaded as an export out of DealMachine. I'm going to double click on it, go up here where it says open with Google Sheets, click on that, and voila. Now we have our raw spreadsheet. Very first thing I'm going to do is change the name because this export name is terrible. I'm going to name it whatever works for you, but for me, I'm just going to do Clay County, April. I'm going to then come up here to the top row, select one to highlight the entire row, go over to view, hover over freeze, and then select one row. From there, I'm going to go down here to the bottom tab, and I'm going to rename this to original. And then from there, I'm going to, on a Mac, select Command A, and then while still holding down the Command key on my keyboard, select A again to highlight all of the rows and columns related to this spreadsheet. Then I'm going to go in between one of these columns and just spread it out a little bit. From here, I'm going to scroll on over to the year built, total baths, total bedroom, and building square feet columns. I'm going to highlight all of these and I'm going to sort them Z through A, and I'm going to remove any line item that has data in these columns. Sometimes, even though at a top level within DealMachine, we set it to vacant land, outliers pop up. And so I want to ensure that I'm exclusively targeting properties that are truly vacant and don't have any structures on it. This is how I do that. So I'm coming here, going to sort Z through A. Then I'm going to go over here to row number 2, hold down the shift button on my keyboard, again on a Mac. And then I'm going to scroll down with my other finger down to where I no longer see data for the year built column. So that would be row 311. And so now that I have them all highlighted by just holding down the shift button and selecting 311, I'm going to right click and delete rows 2 through 311. There we go, my friend. So we went ahead and did that. And just for a sanity check, I'm going to do the exact same thing for each of these columns here. Now, zeros, I don't mind. I'm going to keep those in there. But if it was anything above 0, I would be removing it. From here, I'm going to remove duplicates. So I am going to go to the owner address column. So not the property address, but the owner address. So I'm going to owner address full. I'm then going to highlight this column here. And I use an extension called remove duplicates. This does cost a little bit of money. It's made by AbleBits. I've used it for years. I think it's somewhere between 15 to 25 bucks a year or something. So it's very reasonable, but it just makes removing duplicates very easy. Owner address column, go underneath extensions, hover over remove duplicates, and then select find duplicate or unique rows. I toggle on create a backup copy of the sheet so that I can just do some sanity checks manually, cross-referencing data, making sure that everything is good to go. I hit next, toggle on duplicates, find duplicates, exclude the first instance, hit next, check the box for skip empty cells, check the box for my column has a header, and do not check the box titled match case. I then hit next. Now, if I wanted to be super careful about my duplicates, I could set this extension to highlight all of the duplicated rows in a particular color, and then I could manually go through and remove them all. But I have used this system so much now that I know I can trust it, and I am going to just toggle on delete entire rows from the sheet. Then I hit finish, and I let it do its magic. All right, so we have successfully, in just a few clicks, removed 538 duplicate rows from our spreadsheet. I'm going to go ahead and click close, and for our purposes, I'm going to go down here and delete the copy of original tab. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it, and from here, I'm now ready to prep my marketing ready tab. So I'm going to add a new tab, right click, rename, call it the ready tab. And on this ready tab, I am going to just grab the relevant information, the bare bones info that I need in order to successfully execute on my marketing efforts. So starting off, scrolling all the way to the left, this property ID column and this lead ID column can be very confusing. You might assume that this has something to do with the APN number, the parcel ID. It's not true. The data underneath the property ID and lead ID columns are related to the property record and contact record within DealMachine. Completely irrelevant for our purposes. What you want is the column titled parcel underscore ID. A quick and easy way to find things if you have a bunch of information on a spreadsheet. On your Mac at least, we're going to type in Command F, and we're going to get this little search box here, and we'll just type in parcel. So this right here, my friends, is what we want. We also want the lot acreage column, so I'm going to just go ahead and highlight both. Command C on my keyboard for copying. Now that I see these little dotted lines, I know that the data has been successfully copied. I'm going to go ahead and remove that search box there, go to my Ready tab, go to column A, line 1, and hit Command V for pasting. Now I got all that information here. I'm going to go back to my original tab, and you may want to grab information that's on here that I'm not grabbing. You might want the legal description. You might want the subdivision name. You might want the zoning code or the flood zone code. To each their own. I'm just, again, showing you what I do. I'm gonna scroll back to the owner names. Now, I don't like the owner one name column because it puts last name first. I'm gonna grab both owner one first name, owner one last name, Command C, go to my Ready tab, come here to the C column, hit paste. Then from here, if you wanted to grab the mailing address, you could, just in case you ever wanted to mail. So now that I got that, I'm also going to grab the property full address. And then from here, I'm pretty much done for my purposes. I'm gonna scroll all the way over to the right and start grabbing the contact information. I am going to include the contact one name just in case the contact name is different than the name on title. That happens very frequently in the context of probate, intra-family transfers. Even though at a data filter level, this list said there were no probates and no intra-family transfers, that still might not be true. If we see a discrepancy between the contact name and the name on title, it might be a probate situation, an inherited property, or what have you. So I want to be able to clearly see the difference there as I'm reaching out to people. Now, in addition to that, I'm also going to include the contact one flags column here because this will quickly indicate whether or not I have a high likelihood of actually speaking with the owner or not, as opposed to a family member or some other associated party. And contact one phone one has the highest likelihood of being accurate. So I'm going to give preference to the data in contact one phone one. Sure, on the rare occasion, phone 2 or phone 3 or phone 6 ends up being the right contact information, but contact one phone one is our highest likelihood of getting accurate information. So I'm going to use that one. I'm also going to go contact one phone 2, and then I'm going to use email 1 and email 2 for contact one as well. So I'm going to grab these, move them over slightly, and then from contact one name all the way to email 2, I'm going to highlight, Command C, come over here to this G column, hit Command V to paste it in. And the last one I'm going to grab is this DealMachine URL, because if I'm in a pinch and I need to quickly look up the property for further insights like tax delinquency, ownership demographics, this is very convenient because this column has the direct URLs to the individual property records. Now that I have all of this relevant information on my Ready tab, I'm going to come up here to the top, hit View, freeze the top row, and then the last thing I'm going to do is come here to contact one phone one, sort Z through A, and then I'm going to scroll down and remove any line items that don't have information for contact one phone one. So we're here. I'm going to go over here to the number of the row. Again, hold down the Shift key on my MacBook, and then I'm going to scroll down all the way to the bottom, right click, and delete. Now, my friends, we are ready to use this information for further marketing purposes. I would simply come over here underneath File, hover over Download, and then select CSV, and we're ready to rock. Hope you guys found this video helpful. I'll see you in the next one.